Up next, we're going to be in a similar space, but not Fintech for good. So we're going to have how Fintech can create impact for people. Oh, now there's the stress. I've got the Alex Panican in front of me in the audience. So now you're going to see. LHoFT is in the house. Fintech for good, how Fintech can create impact for people underserved by traditional finance. This is a fantastic conversation. I'm super excited to hear what our panelists bring to the stage. To that point, we have Lisette Cipriano, Principal Digital Financial Specialist at Asian Development Bank, and then Begaim Sadyrova, Seed Capital Investment Manager, DGGF, and Team Lead at Triple Jump, Nick Balaceanu, Founder and CEO at Lenrise, Annabelle Fontenot, who is the Head of Acceleration Programs at LHoFT, and Axel de Ville, Chairman of FIT. Please give them a huge round of applause to welcome them out onto our stage here at Stage A at Nexus. Huge round of applause, please, for our panelists. LHoFT is in the house. One.
My turn. So, thank you for being with us here today. First of all, I'd like to say that I'm very, very happy to be on stage with my panelists, and I wanted to highlight first that we are here for Catapult Inclusion Southeast Asia. We have made come over here from Southeast Asia 15 fintechs under this program, which is supported by the Directorate of Development Cooperation and Humanitarian Affairs. And we are here to actually talk about this very specific thematic, which I think everybody is really passionate about, is financial inclusion. So in this context, we have invited 4 panelists, 4 main actors in this sector. We have Lisette from ADB, as we already present, Axel from FIT, Begaim from Triple Jump, and Nick from Lenrise. So, Lisette, shall we start with you? I've got a question. So, my question is... no, my question is not here, so sorry.
You can ask her any questions.
Yeah, any question. So, we are focusing on the positive role of fintechs that fintechs plays in advancing financial inclusion. So could you first give us a brief overview of the current landscape in this Asian region, please?
Sure. So thank you, everyone, for having me here. Thank you, Annabelle and Alex from LHoFT, and thank you to the organizers of the Nexus conference. So I'm Lisette, and I come from the Asian Development Bank. We are headquartered in Manila, the Philippines, and we are a multilateral development bank. We have about 69 member countries, and our mandate is really to push the agenda for prosperity, inclusion, resilience, and sustainability. And how we do that is we really provide policy advice. We provide concessional loans, equity guarantees. Last year we mobilized about $24 billion US, and also about $15 billion US in co-financing. My role at the ADB, I really look at how we leverage technology for the financial inclusion agenda. There have been improvements in financial inclusion. It has now increased to 71% based on Global Findex from 2021, from 63% 2017 data, thanks to the proliferation of mobile wallets, as well as G2P payments. The numbers have improved, but gaps still remain. So the resilience piece is still an issue that we're trying to tackle. So what that means really is, how do we make people save more? Insurance penetration in our region is relatively low. Access to credit for women SMEs in general, it's a massive challenge. In Asia Pacific, it's about a $3 trillion US gap. And digitization in the region, while we see a lot of progress, is still also a challenge for many of the financial institutions in the rural areas who need the technology for operational efficiency, for scalability and sustainability, so that they can serve those at the grassroots level. Now, going back to Catapult Asia, we are here because we are working with the LHoFT, and we really are, happy that the Catapult Southeast Asia program was launched last year. We have about 14 finalists that have been shortlisted, and they're going through this accelerator program, and hopefully we would be able to incorporate some of these innovative technologies into our operations, and where relevant also be able to make investments as well. And they will be coming over to Manila at the Asia Finance Forum in September. For those who are willing to do the trip and visit the Philippine Islands, we would welcome you in September to join us at the Asia Finance Forum.
Thank you so much, Lisette. Thank you. Axel, I know you part from ADA, but here today you are the chairman of FIT. You launched a fantastic, I think, tool.
You see it.
There is a gap for early stage company and scaling company, and I think you find a fantastic way of actually leveraging the fintech so that they can actually manage to go onto the next scale. So can you tell us more about it first?
Yeah,
and then I want to know, I want to have a use case on Africa, because this is the main target. Please, thank you.
For sure. Thank you. Thank you, Annabelle, and thank you, LHoFT, for inviting me, and thanks for the organizers of Nexus. Indeed, FIT means Financing Innovation Tool. It's a social impact company that has been set up 2 years ago, in 2023, thanks to the support of ADA, an NGO dedicated to inclusive finance, and the Luxembourg Corporation. And the idea was to set up a tool allowing to fund, to invest in innovative, impact-oriented initiatives in developing countries. Most of them are lacking. I mean, there is a chronic gap of flexible, risk-tolerant, long-term funding, and this is what we try to fill in. So the mission of FIT is really to provide, funding in order to strengthen the financial sustainability or help these emerging initiatives and companies to move towards financial sustainability, to have also to help them to prepare to strengthen the investment readiness in order for them to prepare to reach impact investors in the future, and also to amplify their scale and then their impact. And in order to do so, we develop what we call the concept of donate to invest. In that sense, we use donations and subsidies, and we use them as capital that we invest. I will say we are a company, we are not a fund, so we don't have investor behind us, we have donors, but we use the money just like a fund in order to invest. And that gives us a lot of flexibility, allowing us to do 7 years investment, to do equity, to do subordinated debt, to do guarantees, and to be very flexible on the needs of the investees. And so it's not just a funding tool, it's a tool, a platform that try to push for systemic change. And just to give you one example, that we made in Africa. We are active in developing countries, Africa, Asia, and Central America right now. But let me give you one example of the example of Zamuka in Rwanda, which is a fintech. It's it's a company that has been set up in the year 2020 to provide student loans. And so small loans from 2,000, 3,000 equivalent euro. And the idea is to really help people that don't get access to high school to really get access to high school and start a job. I mean, student loans exist in many countries, but what is amazing with Zamuka in Rwanda is that they integrated innovation. Innovation on 2 points. First, the financing solution that they set up. They provide, so they cover the tuition fees for 2 or 3 years. They work with universities and schools, asking them to put 20% guarantee. So the school takes the responsibility that the student will find a job, and the student only pay when he got a job. So there is a result-based mechanism that's very innovative. And on top of that, technology, and this is where fintech is great, they develop an in-house algorithm allowing them to screen what are the needs in terms of jobs for the future, what are the expected revenue that students might expect when they start. And then they structure the reimbursement scheme based on all these specific elements. For example, if you do studies to become an accountant, you might expect a higher revenue than if you do carpenter. And then the system automatically will integrate that. If you are a woman, you will study, you will start a job, and you might get a baby after a year or two. And then the algorithm is integrating on a global basis all these specific elements. And so for us, it was a wonderful way to support education through financial fintech. And to conclude, I will say that what is really important for us when we talk about fintech for inclusive finance is that you are dealing with vulnerable populations. It means that you need, as a fintech, to take the responsibility to make sure that they will be able to pay back. With that type of people, you are responsible if they don't pay back. And that's a huge difference in comparison with regular fintech that we find in our countries, for example.
Yeah,
thank you.
We'll see that later on with Nick Lenrise. He'll be highlighting this point in his solution. Thank you so much, Axel, for being here. Now, Begaim, you came from Netherlands. We had a chat a few months ago. I explained to you what was Catapult Southeast Asia. And I'd like also to thank, first of all, Chiara. She cannot be here today, but this is thanks to her that we actually got in touch. And thank you very much for supporting us in Catapult Southeast Asia, and hopefully Africa and LATAM, which will be happening next year. So Begaim, you work as an impact investor at Triple Jump. So there's two things I would like to know about you. Is first, what is the view of the fintech space for you? And second, what are the key criteria you consider when to invest in a fintech?
Annabelle, thanks a lot for having me here. Maybe I'll briefly touch base that we have a specific mandate, which is a Dutch Good Growth Fund that is focused on the fund-of-funds structures and financial intermediaries. And there, specifically in the segment that I work, we work with a very early stage financial intermediaries, and that can be funds, non-banking financial institutions, to provide them the first risk capital so they can start the operation and expand it. I think on the fintech space, we have seen globally that great strides have been made. But at the same time, we also recognize that there's still quite a lot to do in terms of financial inclusion, gender equity, as well as climate is becoming more and more pertinent question. And the digitalization and fintechs can be a great solution to address it in a scalable manner. We also have seen that the fintech evolved simply from payments and lending. It also includes building an infrastructure around the fintech, such as regulatory, KYC, embedded finance, which involves logistics. And so we look at as a whole that there's still quite a lot of opportunity out there for us to address. And with that in mind, we look at the funds that invest into fintechs, as well as financial institutions and potentially fintechs themselves, who expand the lending and try really to address financial inclusion challenges in the emerging markets. So, for example, I can give you an example that we've just recently looking at a fund that has a thematic approach to the fintech in Africa. It's quite exciting because they have multiple fintech solution as a climate fintech, logistical that embeds the finance into their methodology, regulatory tech that scrubs like the data and helps to clear the companies very quickly in order to process loans to them. So we find all of these developments quite exciting because there is still a lot of information asymmetry that is out there, a lot of information that is just left on paper and it's not digitized. And I think the data can be extremely powerful with coming in of AI that we're seeing that it's going to be taking off very rapidly. So we're excited to see that, and we're actively looking for this type of fintechs or funds that are addressing specifically these segments.
Thank you so much, Begaim. Thank you. Now, Nick, you gave me very interesting figures early on. But first, I would like to say, when we talk about financial inclusion, we always go on to emerging markets. Asia, Africa, Latin, but we tend to forget about Europe. There may not be so many unbanked people, but quite a lot of underbanked people. And that's why you are actually targeting, Nick, with your company. And you just told us early on, and we were actually got smacked, we must say, that the volume, well, the market size in Romania for you, it's 5.4 million people.
Yeah.
And you're already serving 2 million of those?
That's true, yeah.
So can you explain how you did it?
Yeah, it's pretty unusual for Lenrise, which is just a fintech 6 years old. We thought always that we talk, as you say, emerging markets are underserved, underbanked, or unbanked. There are three different levels. But we should pay attention to what the EU says officially, that there are 13 million Europeans, EU citizens, unbanked. That means they don't have a current account, checking account, which is weird indeed. And then we also have a lot of underbanked. That means people with a bank account, checking account, but no investment account. So they just use the money for collecting salaries and for paying the bills. And this is about 52 million. And then the third is underserved, we think, because Europe is aging, and we talk about digitalization or digitization. I think it's the same thing. But here we also include the young generation using TikTok rather than a banking application, or older generation using just the old phone. So they always have to call the bank or go to the branch. So what we thought we can do is to help all these guys in a very easy way to onboard electronically, and then give them access to their financial information, wherever that is. So we use GDPR, which is a regulation, strong regulation, very high fines if you don't, you are not in compliance, as an innovation. So we give any citizen access to their information, wherever that is, with the bank, with fiscal authority, with the state, with credit bureaus, where credit bureaus are. We aggregate the data, and then we have a kind of picture of their financial state. So you look at it and say, hey, what can I do now? And that's important. And now we are working on adding an AI level, and that will give examples of what you can do. It's like a financial digital twin. This is how we call it today. And we are in Romania. We have 2 million users, more than many banks in Romania. By the way, Romania is Eastern Europe, 20 million people, second after Poland. And Eastern Europe altogether is 100 million people, which is like 25% of Europe. So it's not negligible, it's important. And we are striving and thriving. So I think we'll catch up with most of other markets. And our plan is to come here in Luxembourg, and thank you, LHoFT, for hosting us and inviting us to tell our story, not only to our countrymen or counterparts in Romania, but also to regulators here in Luxembourg, to the banks, and everyone present, including Asian markets and capital, and of course, Africa. So our platform, it's available everywhere. It takes some time, of course, to accommodate it to different environments. But what we want to do is to not only serve our citizens in Romania, but Europe citizens and wherever they are. Because the problem we see, at least in Europe, for example, if you want to buy a house in Spain and you are a citizen of Luxembourg and you have income from the UK, it is hard to get mortgage in Spain. So what we can do is to collect all this data with your consent, and you can use it in front of your bank. Another thing we want to fix, because we talk about inclusion, it's a matter of learning by doing. So you have your own data in front of you on your computer or on your screen, and then we can help you understand the situation. So this is what we like a lot, is learning by doing. You don't have to get a class in financials or accounting. We can help you to understand exactly based on your case. I see a lot of investments in universities, central banks. They spend a lot of money on teaching classes, but I think the best way is learning by doing. And the best way, better than that, is learning by doing in a safe way. So with your identity, with your financials, you look at it, the computer looks at you and helps you to understand where you are and what you can do. I think that's, I would say that that's what we should do all together, wherever we are, learning by doing in a safe way, and try to include everyone, right? That's the purpose of.
Thank you so much, Nick. Thank you. And we were talking a lot about financial education also. And during the conversation we had online,
Yeah.
I prefer to have it here. We discussed a lot about financial education and the learning by doing, as you mentioned already. This is very important. So I would say that people like Nick, Begaim, Lisette, and Axel, they actually run by passion and they really want to make an impact in this world. And thank you very much for that. And we have a little bit of time. We thought we would run out of time, but we have time for the call for action. So Nick, we start with you. Your call for action.
My call for action is let people learn by themselves. It's cheaper, it's easier. Give them the information, give them the tools. This is digitalization about. It's not about, again, having classes, going to universities, because it doesn't matter you are a carpenter, as we heard earlier, or you are a banker. I can tell you, based on our customer experience, the people paying late rates at the bank are lawyers, dentists, freelancers. So it's not about how much income you have, it's about how responsible you are. And that's, this is learning by doing indeed. That's how I see it.
Yeah. Thank you, Nick. Begaim, what's your call for action?
Well, as an impact investor in emerging markets, I would say we're quite excited to see things are new ideas that are coming into the world and developing. And if you are looking for funding, for some type of capital, feel free to reach out, and we are happy to take a look. If you have a fintech or a funds that we're definitely interested, and we're always looking to support impact-driven founders who are looking, aside from having returns and like profits as well, also trying to achieve positive impact in the world.
Thank you so much. Lisette, I know your call for action, but please tell us.
So the people that we serve are very important, those who are underbanked and unbanked, and they live in far-flung areas. The Global Findex for 2025, which will come out in this month, the data shows that it's becoming much more difficult to reach out to the last mile. For various reasons. It could be literacy, it could be data connectivity, it could be power, and we need the solutions, innovative solutions that can support the needs of these people who are low income. And they are the ones, in the markets that we operate in, it's expensive to be poor. So in the Western world, to transfer money, it's relatively free. It's free in some countries, right? In the countries where we operate in, the poor people, if they need to make a payment, they have to pay a small fee. And for them, that matters. It still eats up into their share of wallet. And so therefore, we need innovative, inclusive solutions that speak and are relevant to the poor. And it doesn't mean that they don't make commercial sense and that they're not a viable segment to support. But I think if we all come together and we partner, and partnership is important, the problem is massive in Asia Pacific. So if we come together and really support these new innovations, and that's why I'm very passionate about the Catapult Asia program, is because we're seeing solutions, relevant solutions in the marketplace that really address the market gap, that really help people become economically empowered. And we've seen the numbers. I think people in this room understand that. We have seen M-Pesa, the most successful mobile money service in Kenya. It has been able to lift 2% of the population in Kenya from poverty. So that's the kind of impact that we want to see on the ground, and that's the kind of solutions that we want to be able to see that can really move the needle. And I hope that this small speech of mine has, been able to fire you up and really look at how you can use your technologies, your solutions to be more impactful. Thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah. Thank you. I will build on that because this is really, digital finance helped us to make a lot of progress in terms of financial inclusion during the last 15 years. Now it's going so fast with digital that there is still the digital gap. There are millions of people in rural areas especially, maybe not yet reached by digital tools, and then on top of being digitally excluded, they are also financially excluded because financial sector is really integrated, fully integrating the digital aspects. And as you mentioned, there are examples, there are initiatives. Nick in Romania, we know plenty of them in Central America, in Asia, in Africa. You know plenty of them. Triple Jump knows a lot. Catapult program shows, started with Africa and then in Asia and now Central America. So there are plenty of fintechs that are existing. They are small scale. And my call for action is very clear. We need, I call impact investors and donors to join forces in order to fund, in order to help these existing initiatives. Don't start something from scratch. Identify the existing entity like Nick in Romania and join forces to bring them the adapted financing product that they need to scale up and really to bring their product at scale, knowing that they are coming with a product that really responds to the needs of the vulnerable population. And on top of that, because that would be too easy, on top of that, don't forget that you are responsible for the appropriate end of the loan or the financial service you will provide. And don't wait for the regulation. Regulation will come much later. That's what we have seen with M-Pesa in Kenya. They were much advanced. Digital finance is really ahead of regulation. This is why when you talk about responsible, vulnerable people, you need to keep the responsibility. And so FIT is just one very tiny and small example of combining impact investors and donors. I hope that we might join forces with others and that other initiatives like that might emerge. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, you said it all. I don't have much to
cut
add.
off, I don't know, okay.
I don't have much to say because you said it all. I'm very, very happy to have you, 4 of you here. That shows how we can improve people's life on an everyday basis when we join forces. And Catapult would not exist if we didn't have the, sorry, not used to it. We didn't have the support of the ministry, but also the support of all our partners and the FinTech. So if you want to come and join us on Friday, we're very interested to have you on board to actually support our 14 FinTechs who are going to pitch from 4 o'clock onwards on Friday at the LHoFT. And we'll be having a closing party afterwards to celebrate this, hopefully, this very tiring but successful week. So they're coming from Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, Laos, and Singapore. So please, you're welcome to join us on Friday from 4 o'clock at the LHoFT, level 0.
We'll
Thank
be
you
there.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.